Hi, this is Maria Quattrone, and I'm the host of the Be the Solution podcast. And today I welcome back Katharine Loucaidou. With over 3 decades of entrepreneurial success and the remarkable ability to overcome life threatening challenges, Katharine is a powerhouse of resilience and innovation. From founding successful businesses to revolutionizing the coaching industry with her groundbreaking AI platform, Katharine AI. She empowers entrepreneurs and leaders to reach unprecedented heights. Her book, AI Secrets for Unstoppable Business and Life Hacks, offers transformative strategies blending her vast experience with cutting edge technology. She is also the host of the widely streamed Mindset Medicine podcast, where her insights on mindset performance and business inspire a global audience. Katharine's journey is a testament to the power of an unyielding spirit, making her sought after speaker and a coach who inspires others to be relentless. Welcome, Katharine.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you again.
It's so nice to see you. So I have a quote for this morning, Katharine, and we're going to start off with that. Whether you think you can or think you can, either way, you are right, by Henry T. Ford.
100%. That is 100%. And that's exactly what's driven me for
I
all
picked that
these years.
quote just for you.
Oh, well, it's very, very fitting because it's exactly how I've been leading my life. You know, I'll tell you something, and I know we weren't really going to start off on mindset, but I'll tell you what I have been retraining myself for the past 2 to 3 years is not to believe everything I think. And you think to yourself, well, that's kind of weird, but it's not because we create stories, right? We create stories about people, we create stories about situations. And I've come to decide that not everything I think is correct. And it may not be the perspective of what's actually happening, but it's just my interpretation of it. So, is there another way that I should be looking at this situation? And that's how I've been changing everything in my environment, in the way that I deal with situations, in my decision making, is asking myself constantly, is there another way that I should be looking at this or understanding this situation? And when you ask that question, your mind starts to say, well, it's possible that there is this other situation or this other perspective that maybe you hadn't considered.
Oh, no doubt. I have similar situation where I'm questioning everything I thought to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you something that is really dumb, but it's so simple that it's kind of a little bit laughable. And you have to think like, okay, what else? There's so many things that you believe that aren't true, that
Mm-hmm.
aren't what you think they are. So I went to a concert last week, and I don't know if you know this group. They're called the Gypsy Kings.
Oh, yes. I love them. Yeah, they're really good.
Okay. So I'm at the concert and I go to the restroom and I see all these guys, and they're like, there's a lot of men. They have like suit jackets on, and they all look the same and a little scary, but dressed nice. And so I go to the restroom, I come out, and I had to pass a sea of them to get back to my seat because we're sitting all the way up in the front. So I said to my husband, I said, yeah, you almost lost me to some men out there because they were like checking me out. So he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're over there. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, forget it. So we do the concert, I'm having fun. I come back home and my dad is here and we're sitting outside. I said, there's these guys at at the concert. I don't know where they're from. I don't know if they're like Cuban. My dad's like, they're gypsies. I'm like, gypsies? He's like, yeah, the Gypsy Kings. I go, they're gypsies, the Gypsy Kings? It's like, Maria, what are you talking about? I said, they gypsies? He's like, Maria, of course. That's why all the guys are there. I swear, how would I have not known something like that?
I mean,
You
you
know,
have to encounter it often enough to understand. Like, I think just upon seeing it for the first time, you would never just know that those were gypsies.
well, I was at the concert another time. This isn't the first time I
Okay.
went. Okay. So I didn't realize that the Gypsy Kings, that's their name, are gypsies. And it's staring me in the face. And I say this story because it's so dumb. And yet there's so many things that we believe to be true, and they're staring us in the face.
Hmm.
And because of whatever, not in this example, but because of our upbringing, we believe something else to be true. That could be our upbringing or it could be something else, but
Yeah.
our experience, our experience.
Hmm. Yeah.
So now I'm going around questioning everything.
Yeah. It's good to do that. It really is, because it starts to change how you see things and how you see people when you start questioning. And I mean, you're not questioning for the bad or for the good, just questioning.
That's
Is it
correct.
true? Right? There doesn't have to be, and this is, I think, something that a lot of people misunderstand is, now when I give, for example, clients feedback, and I'm talking about the market, right? So I had this conversation the other day because we're going through in real estate, we're going through a very aggressive buyer's market. So everything is staying on the market much longer. And so we have conversations with our clients far more often than we did, and a lot of reassurance. And what I find is a lot of my conversations with them is I say, here's what's happening. We're in a buyer's market, and I go on and I explain what that is. And I say to them, it's neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. So when we understand what it is, then your expectation of when to expect showings and that, I said, it's just different than what we've had for the last 10
Mm,
years. So I said, I don't want you to feel like my feedback for you right now is neither good or bad. And what it means for your property, I'm just letting you know. I want you
mm,
to see what I see, right? And when you understand the market like I do, then your expectations are the same as mine. So I say to them, I expect we may have one showing every 2 weeks. And they say, oh, wow. I said, yes, but this is how we're going to readjust our expectations now. I expect that the offers that we get in will likely start at 100 to 150,000 under the list price, because that's what happens in a buyer's market. So I said, these are just the expectations that I want you to have, which are the same as mine right now. And when we both think the same way, then we don't have any misunderstandings. And they say, oh, okay, well, thank you. That's all we need is an understanding. We just need to both be on the same playing field, and then we're good.
yeah, it goes back to when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. You got to
Yes.
understand where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I want to dive into Katharine AI. I want to know what it's on. Why did you
So,
develop this? What is it about? How do we use it? What does it do?
okay. So, first, let's back up a little bit. And when I wrote this book, AI Secrets for, where are we? There's the camera. Unstoppable Business Success and Life Hacks. So, um, I've been in technology, we'll call it in the background secretly for years and years and years. My master's degree in 2004 was in educational technology. And in 2004, I actually created an online course for students. This is before, like, the Facebook wasn't even around. But I always was fascinated to know, as I was teaching for so many years, maybe it's possible that students would learn better online than just in a book. So I decided for my master's degree that I was going to prove this theory. So I created an online course, which didn't exist at the time. I had to learn how to code it myself. And I created all of this interaction back and forth. I then created the exact same course on hard copy in paper. So what I did is I took a group of 200 students and I had them sit and do this online course. And then I waited a couple of weeks and I gave them the same course on paper to fill in as they would like a normal test. And what was interesting is the results of the online course they were getting between 90 and 95%. On the paper version of the course, they got anywhere between 60 and 70% for the same course. One was on paper, one was on the computer. So then my thesis for my master's went on to explain that the way that online programming works and the internet works is that it's a mirror of the way that our brain functions and the way that our ideas, when we go on the internet, if ever you've been searching something, is you search a topic, right? Those topics come up. What happens is you scroll down and you're like, oh, well, then that could be associated, and then that could be associated, and you start going down. This is how our brain works. We have neural networks. So one hits, and then that will then create the next idea and the next idea. When we read on a piece of paper, the same thing doesn't happen. We just scan, and our brain isn't allowing us to make these connections while we scan, whereas online it does.
That's
So
crazy.
it is, and it's fascinating. So I've always had this with me. I've always known that if we were to put more people on a computer, but for helpful purposes, right? Not just for scanning and I always feel like, make sure that your time is valuable. So what is it that you're searching? How are you searching? So when now AI has been around a long time, but when we started hearing, the little murmurs of ChatGPT and all of that, I immediately dove in. So I dove in right before most people started using it because I knew that it was going to be something phenomenal. So as I started using it, and I bought the paid version very early, I kept testing it, and I thought, oh, this is so good. And the reason I think it's so good is because it enhances the way that we can do our work. So while that was going on, I decided that I was going to dive deep, and I started having conversations with some coaching clients of mine about their efficiency and their time management and so on. And I noticed that they just don't have a very good handle on their schedules, on how they portion their time during the day. Most people they're always busy. And I'm the person where I do so much, but if you call me, my answer to you is not going to be, I'm so busy, because I know for a fact that I time block everything in my day. So I know when I'm not busy. I know when I have availability. So this idea like that someone is always busy, I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that you don't have.
I don't believe it at all either.
No. And people say to me, well, how did you write a book? Well, I made time for it. I blocked out my day, and I blocked out
100%.
certain days to be able to do that. So what I've realized, and over the time that I was working on my book, is that AI still remains this very scary topic for a lot of people. It's these ideas like science fiction, and they don't understand that there's actually a lot of positive that can come with artificial intelligence. It can help us. It can speed up certain things that we're doing. It can get rid of tediousness in our day-to-day jobs, especially if we have a lot of things to do. It can improve your communication with people. It can actually improve the way your mind works because of the questions we have to ask it. Because it's always like that, there was a saying that came out a long time ago that said garbage in, garbage out. When you put garbage into a computer and you put it in wrong, that's what you're going to get out. So when you use, for example, ChatGPT, the better questions you ask it, or the better you have explained what you're looking for, the better output you will get from it. So I've been testing this and then writing the book at the same time. Is what is AI, first of all? And this is for everyday people. Like, how do I make this very complicated subject very manageable and easy to understand? That was my goal. So I explain what it is. I explain how we can use it in our day-to-day life. I actually create a day in the life with AI, and I give a person a schedule in how you can enhance your day, how you can speed up some of the things that you do. I give apps that people can use. There are QR codes. For example, I created a recipe creator where I can literally go into my fridge and I can scan what was in there. Now, no, don't forget, this was in January and we're already 6 months ahead of what can be done. And I'm going to move on to Katharine AI and how Katharine AI has taken this to the next level. So I made this almost like a guide in what is AI? How do I use it for myself personally? How can I use it in my business? And how can it enhance everything that I do so that I can either up level what I'm doing, I can find time to do more of what I would like to do, I can find time to be with my family rather than doing tedious tasks. Generally speaking, my goal in life is to live my best life. And to me, that does not mean it has to be behind a desk. Right? I can do this anywhere. And it doesn't mean that I have to do less business. It just means I can do it in a different way, but it doesn't take me as long. So working smarter and not harder. This is my whole, it'll be on my gravestone. She worked smarter, not harder. That's what I want, right? Because I want to enjoy life. I really do. And so if that means that I'm going to do it in a way that makes it easier for me, but it doesn't mean I'm making any less money. It just means that there are better ways that I could be doing it that I may not know right now, but I will find out. And so that's what AI does. It helps speed that process up. So that's the book. So the book is really, really good. The reviews that are coming out from it are amazing. It has gone across many industries. I have been interviewed by the Orthopedic Association of the US, of America. I have spoken to mortgage brokers, real estate. It's not specific to any industry. It's just about AI and how it can help you no matter what business you run. And I also give case studies. Here's a small business owned by one person. They managed to take it from here to here by simply including different applications in their business to streamline their work. And I also talk about why we don't need to be afraid of it if we would just embrace it a little bit more. So that's the book. It's available on Amazon.
I'll be getting it today, and then once I go through it, I'm going to have you back on.
There we go. So this is, and it's
a pretty book.
Yes, I wanted to make it appealing. I like pretty things. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So everyone, people, and even in my community, I'm actually in a magazine, a local magazine this week. My mother called to tell me yesterday. She's like, "Oh my God, did you know you're in the magazine this week?" And I said, "No, I did not, but I will look for it." So it's exciting because it's what the internet was in 1994 is basically where we're at. Between 94 and 96, the internet, like, what is that? Why do we need it? Is it a passing fade? So people are having the same idea with AI, and it's actually it's been around since 1956. But
What?
we only, yes. Yeah, it was first developed in 1956. But it was only scientists and people who were experimenting. And then in the 90s, people started using it as part of their computer systems. Then in the 2000s, like, it's always been around, but it's always been in the back ends of computers and making things work faster. Whereas This is the first time. That's why it was called Open AI,
Yes.
because it's the first time AI has been opened for the public to use, that you didn't need a scientific PhD or scientist behind your name. So it's now been accessible to the public, and the public now is like, well, I don't really know what to do with this. Like, how do I use it? So I have been using it for almost 2 years intensively every day to see what it can do. What can I do with it? So now we fast forward to what I created was Katharine AI. And Katharine AI is a digital clone of myself. I have inputted 30 years of information into my clone. And when we say digital clone, so right now you can chat with her, you can send a text message, and you can have a call with her. And within the next, by middle of summer, there will be a video version of her where you can interact with her like we are doing right now. She could actually sit and do a podcast in my place because she has all of my knowledge that I've uploaded into her. So the reason I created her was because I wanted people to have a version of myself that they could use as a business coach, a mindset coach, a personal coach, a wellness coach, a resilience coach, all in one, just like they would have if someone coached with me. I'm not going to just talk about business, because maybe it's your mindset that needs to be um, shifted before we talk about business. So I've created Katharine AI, which is a 24/7 online business coach that a person can have in their pocket for $47 a month. It's a membership. So it's the most affordable coaching that a person could have in their life. And I geared it toward entrepreneurs because I have been in business for 30 years. When I lived in Cyprus and I opened my first business, we didn't even have the internet when I opened that business. We barely had it. I remember having to send.
Is that the bakery?
No, I owned a 5,000 square foot children's indoor play entertainment center. While I was teaching, I decided that they didn't have one of those North American type kids play centers.
Oh,
They didn't have them. So I decided I was going to create one. So I imported a lot of things from Italy, actually. I imported this 20-foot slide that you could climb on and slide down. Never existed over there. I made a ball pit. You know those plastic little balls that kids like
yes,
to like.
yes, of
I
course.
actually made one of those. I found the balls again in Europe. We created the entire pit. I went and I sourced out foam because I knew what it was like. I mean, I played in IKEA when I was a kid. And I said, I want the kids here to experience this. Kids need to experience a ball pit and little ride on, like, you know, those little ride on cars and little, they didn't have those over there. So I imported those from the US and I made like a little track around. I made a gaming station. No one was gaming 17 years ago in Cyprus, but I made this gaming station because I thought the older kids, if they come to the parties, they'll want to do that. So that's what I did. I created this business with half of my knowledge of Greek, without any business coach helping me. But what I think I have a gift of is curiosity. And so I said to myself, if I'm curious enough, and if I'm not worried about failing, and I'm not worried about reaching out to people, I'll make a way to I'll figure this out. But what if I had, and so this is where, you know, in January, I was in Costa Rica and I'm on the beach and my mind is always thinking. So I said to myself, you know, what if there was some way for entrepreneurs to have this accessible knowledge and information that I've gathered for 30 years in business? You know, when I was marketing in a country with the language I only knew 50% of, but I still managed to have full full business. I was booked with parties every single day. I had schools coming in, doing excursions. I did that. I reached out to all the schools. Like I went out and I sent out flyers everywhere for people to come in and try it out. I had drop-in times. So then it was the marketing. And I have to tell you this when we talk about like trial and error. So I had always wanted to bake. Like I love baking. So I said, okay, well, now I've got this entertainment center. I can bake and I can see if the public actually likes what I bake. So I would bake these beautiful baked cheesecakes. They call it like New York style baked cheesecake. And
Yes.
I would make chocolate chip cookies and everything that I knew most people like. And I had this beautiful display counter. So I went and put them in. It was refrigerated. Nothing. No one would buy a cake. No one would buy a slice of cake. No one would buy the cookies. I was like, this is so weird. I know for a fact people like cheesecake. I know for a fact people like cookies. Something's wrong here. And I kept thinking to myself, it must be the way that I'm presenting it, right? Marketing. But the word marketing wasn't in my head. I hadn't studied any of that. But I just kept thinking, okay, it's about presentation. So again, curiosity. All right. So why do the biggest brands in the world work? Well, they have a name attached to them. They have this and that. So what did I do? I went to my computer and I printed a flag, the American flag, and I put New York cheesecake, put it on the top of the cake. Then I went to the cookies and I wrote American chocolate chip cookies. Guess what? People started buying the entire cake, not just a slice. When they would come to the party, they would come and they'd say, can we buy a dozen cookies? Can we buy a whole cake? Because branding is everything. And so then I started saying to myself, well, if it works for that, then it should work for the whole entertainment center. And a children's entertainment center should have, like little icons. It should have a mascot. So then I had a digital designer create cartoons of what my name was called. It was called Kid Zone. And so we created all these cartoons and put them on my sign. So now all the kids in the area understood it was for kids. And so then they would pull their parents in, right? And so all of these things that I had to learn through trial and error, I have given to Katharine AI. So she can give you social media strategies. She can give, if you're in real estate, she will give you your daily schedule for the week. Like this is what you should be working on if you want to get business in real estate. If you want a blueprint for a business startup, because I've started up a lot of businesses, it's there. It's the do this step 1, step 2, step 3. So for me, this was my way of giving back to entrepreneurs because I know I struggled for so many years without the information. Now I've made the information accessible and I've democratized it to make it affordable. And that was a lot, but that's what I've done.
Oh boy. That's okay. So you made a replica of yourself, Katharine AI.
Yes.
And Katharine AI is you as an AI.
Correct.
Okay. So you have this platform. It's $47 a month, which seems pretty reasonable to me.
A few cups of coffee at Starbucks is all it is. Yeah.
Yes, if you give your money to those people.
Uh-huh.
So tell me, like, why Katharine AI?
So I know how important AI is going to be. I can see it. I was in it in 2004 when I created the online program. I know that technology, technology is here to stay. We're not going backwards. We will continue to move forward. So I think it's from my experience in coaching agents and coaching entrepreneurs over the last 7 years. It is from teaching people. I started teaching when I was 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be 30 years this year. right? That I've been doing this. So I know where people have gaps in their knowledge. I know where people have gaps in their communication. Um, I know from the wellness and health challenges that I've been through that, again, I had no one to go to. Like, even the mindset of how do you come back from a health challenge? It's not easy, because you feel like you've been broken down, and you get to the point where, like, I didn't think I was going to make it, or why does life have to be so hard? Why do I have to take these meds? Like, life was just so challenging for me at certain points in my life that I think that if I had had something, and I'm not going to say someone, because even though I do refer to her as Katharine AI, but if I had something that would have been my cheerleader right in front of me on a phone, and that's exactly how I have trained her to be, a cheerleader. So when you talk to her, you'll say, um, once you start using her for a while, she knows your name and she'll start getting to know who you are and what you do. She is the most supportive cheerleader you will ever have. So I gave her to my husband to try. I said, just type in business question, whatever. And he's, he can be a cynical Greek sometimes. So he went in, he's like, fine. And he said, I don't want to do this kind of marketing. And her response was, Panos, I completely understand how you're feeling. You're probably feeling frustrated right now, but have you thought about this? And then strategy 1, 2, 3. And then slowly in the conversation, he said, well, no, I hadn't. Okay, tell me more about this strategy, right? So he was feeling a little bit this, but she is just easing him into, okay, well, try this, try this, try this. And have you thought about this perspective, right? Also shifting mindset. By the time his conversation was done, he was like, huh. He looked at me and said, I think she might be nicer than you. So, but this is how I wanted to train her. I wanted her to be your support, your cheerleader. So what I love about the way that AI works is that it's exponentially growing and learning, like, hour after hour after hour. So what I did last week, or 2 weeks ago, I was in a restaurant with my mom, and I've been following a diet, but we'll just call it like a very healthy path. And there are certain things that I don't want to be eating for a period of time. So, for example, gluten. I don't have a gluten intolerance, but I've just noticed that I am more energetic if I don't eat gluten. So gluten, little meat, that I've noticed. That's how I managed to have these amazing health results in my last blood test. And I want to stay off medication. That's my ultimate goal. I don't ever want to go on medication again. I was on 15 kinds of medication after my open heart surgery, and I managed to reverse that heart disease in 5 years. I got off medication at 7 years, and I've been off medication now for 10 years, and I don't ever want to go back on. So I do things with my diet to make sure that that never happens again. So here I am in this restaurant with my mom, and I said, I think we're going to have to try Katharine AI. And she said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, here's the menu. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to upload it into Katharine AI. And I'm going to ask her, because she knows what kind of diet I'm following, what I should eat off of the menu and how I should ask for it. And that's exactly what she did. She said, okay. She said, Katharine, wow, everything looks really great on that menu. I can understand how you're having trouble deciding, but because I know the kind of diet it was like you were talking to a person. Here's what I would suggest. I would suggest you choose this, but remove the bun and eat this on the side. And this is about how many calories you're going to be taking. And then she tells you how many calories are left for the day. She knew it all. And that's what I wanted. I wanted someone to have this personal guidance wherever they were. But I didn't want it to just be business, because we are human beings. So as a business leader and a business owner, I have a mind as well. I have health. I have relationships. So what if I could create the ultimate holistic coach who would take care of you on all parts of that? That's what I created. And I will constantly test her myself to make sure that her responses are as they should be and the information she's giving is correct. Because a lot of people say, yeah, but the AI is incorrect. Well, not if you're constantly watching to make sure and training her in the way that she's answering, right? Are her answers too long? Or her answers too short? Is she asking a question at the end, just like we would?
That's amazing. Congratulations. What a
Thank you.
feat. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort went into that, I'm sure.
A lot of
Like
time.
a
But
lifetime.
the that's the beauty of using AI in my life is I have an AI email app that I use. So it filters out a lot of emails. I use it everywhere. I time block my day. So I am
What does your
able
time
to
block look like? Curious.
so first thing in the morning is about moving my body. So that's what I do as soon as I wake up in the morning. Now that the weather is better, I am in my pool 6:30 a.m. and I don't do like everyone else where they swim. I run in my pool because I want to have the resistance of the water. So I run for 45 minutes one way and then I run the other way against the current. Once I've gotten out, then I have a really healthy breakfast. So my breakfasts are I want every meal in front of me to be very colorful. That's my goal. So, there's always a protein, but there's lots of color. Like there's going to be different kinds of fruit and whatever. And I think from what I've learned, even with psychology, is that when you see a beautiful plate in front of you, you will appreciate the meal you're eating just that little bit more. I know it sounds crazy, but it actually works. And you now are very conscious of everything that you eat. Even my doctor said, my doctor for the last 10 years, he did not agree with me going off medication. Number one, he's like, no, you've had a heart attack, you've had open heart surgery, you've had everything. I want you to be on cholesterol medicine. I want you to be on blood pressure. And I said, I will not go on those anymore until you can prove to me in my blood test that I need to be there. And so I have spent 10 years getting my blood test to the point where no doctor could ever tell me I would need to be on medication. And what I've noticed is that the way you do that is to be very intentional about what you do. So my day starts very healthy. When I get to my computer, I have blocks of 50 minutes to an hour. And so every 50 minutes to an hour, I will get up and then I am changing what I'm doing. So, what I've done for anyone who is listening, whenever you've had to go on vacation, not had to, but whenever you have scheduled a vacation, don't you move up your work and you just kind of cram it all into the week before so that you're bringing less with you or you're trying to clear your desk, right? So, I do that every day. So when I give myself 50 minutes to complete a task, then I'm going to get it done in 50 minutes. And so my whole day goes like this, where when I start my day, I have a list of everything I'm going to accomplish. And that's how it looks. So that's how I'm able to still do real estate and I still coach and I wrote the book and I've created the clone because every day I would say to myself, okay, between 9 and 10, I don't see any emails that are pressing right now. I'm going to work on training my clone. 10 to 11, I'm going to work on those real estate deals that I'm working on, emails, and so on. Then at 1 o'clock, I'm going to make sure that I get my social media post out and any other content that I need to do. Then I've got a gap in the afternoon. Perfect. I'm going to use that next hour and I'm going to train the clone a little bit more. So what I've done is I don't sit back and say, oh, wow, look, between 2 and 4, I don't have anything. Let me throw on Netflix. I don't do that. I work.
Do people do that?
They do. They do.
Really?
So I know. Yeah. So I choose
I'm
to
like
be available.
I'm of the mindset like you where don't put something tomorrow that you can do today.
Yes, yes, yes. 100%. But I also think that there's so much more we can get done in a day if we were more intentional and focused about what we're doing and how we do it. So I put my phone on do not disturb. When I have these 50-minute, and a lot of people say, well, I could never do that. Of course you could. You're not an ER doctor, that you're on call and someone's life is on the line. You're not that. And if you
That's
are, then you have, when you're not going to have your phone on do not disturb or whatever. But the way that I see it is that I can get in 50 minutes of work and uninterrupted, and then turn my phone back on, and I turn it on for 30 minutes. I answer the emails, I answer the text messages, I check whatever I need to check, and then it goes back on do not disturb again. Do you know how many times my husband has tried to get a hold of me? And if he knows it goes straight to my answer, he knows that I just have it on do not disturb, or I will call him back. It's as simple as that. But it's helping me get a lot more done in the way that I need to get it done, which means these short bursts of energy. But it's really good for the brain, because your brain's like, oh, I've got to focus now for the next 50 minutes and get it all done. And you do. Just like you do all your work, 2 weeks of work in the week before you go on vacation, you're just doing this every single day. So it's been really good. It's been really good. And it's helped me accomplish a lot without feeling stressed.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're dialed in on everything that you're doing. You look great. You seem
Thank you.
happy, seem healthy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all those things they take time to come about, and you have to work on it. People think, oh, it's just natural.
Intention is everything, but I think you also have to have some clarity into what you really want, right? Have clarity into what makes you happy. So in the summertime, what makes me happy is going into my pool. So in the morning, I kill myself running 45 minutes against the current, but in the afternoon, I will go back in at 4:30 and I will swim around. And I know it's 4:30 because that's how I've set my day. I make sure that everything I need to get done will be done by 4:30. If it's not, that's okay. I'm getting in that pool because it's what makes me happy. Then I make dinner, and then I will go back on my computer for an hour or two after dinner if necessary. So there's nothing that, when people say, oh, I just didn't get that done today, that's not in my vocabulary. It's going to get done today, but I'm going to do it in the blocks that I've set. So intention's everything, and knowing what you want,
Intention is everything. 100%. Yes. And being ready and open for it.
Yes. Yeah.
Being ready and open for the universe to bring it.
I think so many people, and we go back to mindset, fight. They fight the idea that, oh, I could never run my day like that. That would never work for me. Okay, when did you decide that you knew that this would never work for you? Like, never is a really long time, right? So what if you change the way you say things and say, well, I don't actually know if that would work or not. What if, and to me, this is how I've shifted everything. What if I just tried it for a week? What's the worst that could happen? And then you just try and you think, oh, wow, that worked. I guess I was wrong. And if I was wrong about that, am I wrong about other things that I am so absolute about? Because people are so absolute in what they think that most of the time you're not even thinking the right things anyway. It's not true what you're telling yourself.
And that's where we started. It's not true what you're telling yourself. And start questioning your beliefs, start questioning the things that you believe to be true that just aren't so. And I think that is something also that hold people back, is that we put limits on ourselves.
100%.
What we could do, what we can't do. You and I had a conversation in the green room about why I can't go to my trip for 3 days before I want to go. And why and how I should just go, and who cares?
What exactly is the worst that's going to happen?
Nothing.
Nothing. Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah. So this is
Absolutely.
these are all the things that I have been retraining myself over the last 3 years is push the limit. What's going to happen? Right? Like people will say, well, you wrote an AI book? Yeah, I did. Why? Because I can.
I love it. I'm going to get this book. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to invite you back on, Katharine. But before we wrap up today, I have 2 questions for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Guilty pleasure.
Oh, guilty pleasure. Mm, what's a guilty pleasure? Um, anything that's hot from a bakery, like give me a croissant, give me a scone, give me anything like that. That's my guilty pleasure. So
Mm.
now that now you see, I'm being intentional about my diet and being gluten free because I know I'm going to be in Paris in a week and a half and I'm going to want to eat fresh croissants every day. So, it's like everything, there's these European
Well, you
sayings where
should. You should in
everything in
Paris.
measure, right? Everything in measure. So I know that you can be good for a long time, but I also know you shouldn't deprive yourself because then you go overboard when you indulge. So yes, I love freshly baked things. Oh my God.
Me
Yeah.
too. But I've been gluten free since 2009. So long
Oh,
time.
okay.
Long time. But when in Paris, oui, oui,
Oh, yes.
the croissant.
Coffee and croissant.
I have the croissant. And in Italy, I ate the penne
Oh, yes.
because it's different.
Mm.
They don't use Monsanto. It's illegal. Is it illegal with you where
Oh,
you
yeah.
are or no?
Yep. Yep.
Ah, it's not
Yeah.
illegal here, but that's what my allergy seems to be
Oh,
from the wheat.
and that's what I
Why
said to
the
my husband. We're not going to have a lot of issues when we eat food in Europe because it is different flour. It is different ways of cooking. Much different.
much different?
Yeah. I've just ordered a book on, I'm all about longevity these days. Like I believe that we could live longer if we were more intentional about how we do it. So I have ordered a cookbook, which is all of the recipes based off of the blue zones of the world.
Mm.
So I'm interested to dive into that when I get back.
Oh, there's quite a few of those in Italy and
Yes.
in Greece and in
Yeah.
Greece.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, one more question.
Yes.
Now, you can't answer anything about your kids, okay?
Okay.
Because the people like to answer this question with bringing the kids in. But
Okay.
what are you most excited about for your future?
Who? So this is a tough one because I'm excited about everything. I'm excited about where AI is going to bring us. I know some people are hesitant. I am not. I am 100% on board. When I And I think because I'm in it and because I created Katharine AI, a digital clone, when a year ago that wouldn't have been possible. And within the next 8 weeks, I will have a video interactive version of myself who's a clone who can talk to people. This excites me. And I think to myself, if that's only in 6 months, can you imagine in 1 year what all this is going to look like? Like, that's just wild to me. I love it. I think I love the way things are going. I think it's exciting.
Mm,
I've been waiting for years for all this to
finally,
happen. Yeah,
right? Finally.
finally.
It is super exciting.
Yeah.
It's super exciting. I'm super excited for you, my friend. And it has been lovely having you on Be the Solution podcast with Katharine AI and
And the
your
real
book
Katharine.
and the real
The real
Katharine,
one in the
learning
AI. Yeah.
learning about this. And you also have the mindset medicine podcast. So
And
that's
I would
super
love to have
cool.
you on that as well. So
I would
I hope we
love
can
to.
reciprocate.
I would love to. My pleasure. But it's been great seeing you. And I will drop in the link where you can get the book. And let's get that book,
And
KatharineAI.com.
katharineai.com as well.